it?
Yes.
My dog is doing this. So.
Today is Yoga Nidra, so rest and restore meditation. We are going to do a long guided meditation. So follow my voice best you can. Give yourself a little promise to stay alert, but get rested as possible. So try and reduce the stress and tension in the body as much as possible. So to do that, we're going to begin first by taking in your sounds of the environment, and especially in ours, because rock climbers are downstairs. There's a lot of loud noise that goes on with them. We have a dog in the studio that's wandering around. She might be a little distracting. So just take in the sounds first before you start to settle in, and then find all your props. So Kaylee's demonstrating.
Thanks.
Kaylee is demonstrating one way to lay on your back. You can see she has a bolster under her knees, and she has something under her feet so that her feet know where the ground is, so they're not kind of just floating in space. So she's going to lay down this way. Takes any tension out of the low back, especially if your low back or your backs of your legs are tight. This helps the body reduce that stress. So a little prop under the knees helps you relax a little more. And also something under your feet helps your muscles in your legs know where the ground is, know where support is, so that you're able to really reduce any tension in the body. She has something in underneath her arms so that her shoulders feel comfortable, her arms feel comfortable. Just find ways to really prop up the body. Traditionally, this is done laying down, corpse pose. However your body is most comfortable, in a way that you can loosen every muscle in the body for a long period of time. So a position that you will be not tempted to wiggle in. So if you have to wiggle, take your wiggles, but you want to try and find the position where you're least tempted to wiggle and adjust and reset. So start to land in your position, get your props, lay a blanket over you. A nice heavy blanket can be very comforting because your body temperature drops as you get deeper into the meditation. And it can also feel like a little layer of protection, pulling you down into the support of the ground below you. Start to notice your breath. Notice if you have any muscular tension around your breath. Notice if there's any gripping around your breath. And just start to let it flow. Just as if you were fully asleep and you're not in control of your breath. Maybe intentionally thinking about warmth around the muscles that control the breath and allowing them to soften and loosen. And take a moment to really notice the points of contact you have with support. So notice your hips are supported, your head is supported. Notice all of the things that are quite heavy. Your hips are heavy, your skull is heavy, your shoulders kind of heavy. So notice they have support. And then all the muscles that support those bones, allow them to start to soften. So allow the muscles of the legs and the stomach to start to soften, almost as if you're giving them permission to let their burden go. The muscles of the chest, the neck, muscles of the face, allow the lower jaw to just soften and land. And it can be very helpful to say to yourself right here in this moment, all of my needs are met. It can be very grounding. And it's not as if you're creating safety throughout your life and forcing any kind of stability. You're just saying right in this moment, it's okay for me to take a break. It's okay for me to rest and let go of my burdens for this period of time. And if you'd like to work with an intention for this practice, something that you want to work with in your life in general, think of a little truth vow. A truth vow is something that, a promise that you're making to your innermost truth. So make it a short, precise, and positive sentence. For example, if I would like to work with my overall health, I would say to myself, I am healthy. And whisper it to yourself the way that you would to a dear friend. Whisper it with conviction and compassion and kindness. And then we'll begin with a practice called rotation of consciousness. We're going to move our awareness around specific points of our body, just practicing getting the mind into single point focus and noticing what is present in the physical layer of the body. So become aware of the right hand. Locate the right hand thumb, first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger. Palm of the right hand, back of the right hand, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, armpit. Travel down the right rib cage, a rib at a time. Locate the space between the rib cage and the hip. Right hip, thigh, kneecap, lower leg, heel, arch, ball of the right foot, right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. Fill up your awareness on the right side of the body, as if you're trying to locate each and every cell on the right side of the body. Gently shift your awareness to the left hand thumb, first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger. Palm of the left hand, back of the left hand, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, armpit. Travel down the rib cage, rib at a time. Locate the space between the rib cage and the hip. left hip, thigh, kneecap, lower leg, heel, arch, ball of the left foot, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. Become completely aware of the left side of the body, as if arriving home on the left side of the body. And we'll move a little more quickly left and right sides of the body. So find left foot, right foot, both feet, left ankle, right ankle, both ankles, back of the left knee, back of the right knee, both knees, back of the left hip, back of the right hip, across the hips, left low back, right low back, across the lower back, left back of the rib cage, right back of the rib cage, across the rib cage, mid back, left shoulder blade, right shoulder blade, across the shoulders, left hand, right hand, both hands and arms, left ear, right ear, the space in between the ears. Land in that space. Center, right in between the ears. As if you're right in the center of your brain, the top of the tailbone, at the top of the spine. And allow space for whatever is present here to be present here. Notice that you can notice your thoughts. And then perhaps notice a little space in between the thoughts. we'll move on to a balancing practice. Practicing experiencing the sense of opposites. So begin to imagine your physical body is filled with lead. Your bones are heavy. Your body is heavy. Feeling heavier and heavier and drawn into the ground. Toes are heavy. Your feet are heavy. Your legs, your torso, your fingertips, your arms, even your head and your hair feel heavy, very heavy, deeply weighted, secured to the ground, feeling heavier and heavier. Feeling so heavy that if a storm were to blow in, you wouldn't budge. You're so deeply weighted and secured to the ground. And then gently begin to invite in the opposite sensation. Sensation of lightness. Filling up your whole physical body with the sensation of lightness, spaciousness, of airiness, of softness. Your toes are soft and light. Your legs are light. Torso is light, your arms, your fingers, your face, feeling lighter and lighter and softer and softer. Becoming so soft and so light that you feel as if you're almost floating away on the softest breeze. And then experiment with the possibility of feeling both of these sensations at the same time. A sense of lightness and a sense of heaviness throughout your physical body at the same time. Move on to the energetic layer of the body. So we're going to imagine moving energy around the body. Whatever helps you connect to this concept, you can give it a color or a temperature. You can give it something visual like a river of energy. Whatever helps you connect to the concept of bringing energy in certain movements around the body. And as this energy moves, we're going to imagine it moving freely, moving with ease throughout the physical body, free of any misaligned bones or holding patterns, just freely moving fresh energy, sweeping away what is no longer needed. So bring your awareness to the palm of the left hand. We're going to imagine bringing the energy through the left hand, up the left arm, across the chest, down the right arm, and out the palm of the right hand. Drawing in through the left hand, up the left arm, across the chest, down the right arm, and out the right hand. And then gently switch the direction of your energy, drawing energy in through the right hand, up the right arm, across the chest, down the left arm, and out the left hand. In through the right, up the right arm, across the chest, down through the left, and out the left hand. Fresh, easily moving, cleansing energy. Sweeping away anything no longer needed. And gently bring your awareness to the sole of the left foot and draw your energy in through the left foot, up the left leg, across the hips, down the right leg, and out through the sole of the foot. In through the left, up the left leg, across the hips, down the right leg, and out through the sole of the right foot. Freshly moving, cleansing energy. In through the left leg, across the hips, down and out through the right. Sweeping away anything no longer needed. This cleansing energy moving throughout your lower body. Then gently see if you can switch your energy channel to draw in through the sole of the right foot, up the right leg, across the hips, down the left leg, and out through the sole of the left foot. In through the right, up the right leg, across the hips, and down through the left and out the left foot. Freshly moving, cleansing energy. And soften into the energetic layer of the body. Feeling your whole energetic system is moving fresh energy, glowing. Perhaps you can feel that layer just above your skin. Connecting to that energetic sense of your body, the electro pulse of your body. Pulsating with life. And then find the very center of this energetic pulse, right at the top of the spine, the top of your energetic highway that moves up and down the spine, from the brain down the spine, throughout the body. Land in this space, the middle of this space. Looking back up at the thoughts and the firings of the brain, as if you're a little bit further away from them, more deeply inside, further away from the distractions of the brain and the mind. Notice that you can notice your thoughts. And then perhaps notice the little space in between the thoughts. And then we'll go on an imaginative journey, working with the imagination, trying to fill in a visual journey as detailed as possible. We're going to take a walk in a forest on a well-worn path in a forest. Begin to paint in the details of the trees around you, the leaves on the ground, the well-worn path ahead of you. Perhaps you see birds and butterflies and other creatures of the forest. It's a warm day. The sun is trickling through the leaves. Perhaps you can begin to imagine the feel of the sunlight as it touches your skin as you're walking deeper and deeper into the forest. Perhaps you begin to smell the smells of fresh scents of earth. Perhaps you can imagine the sounds of your feet as they touch the forest floor. The further you walk in to the forest, the more and more connected to nature you begin to feel. Feeling drawn in to this beautiful scene in nature, deep forests filled with beautiful trees. The more that you walk along this well-worn path, the further away the distractions of day-to-day life seem to be. And you're more and more taken in by the beauty of this forest, by the smells and the sounds, and the feel of being in this forest, this place in nature, surrounded by old trees that have been here long before you were here. And up ahead you see a small clearing, and in the center of the clearing, a very old ancient tree. So big and so old, with branches with many twists and turns. A trunk so large you couldn't wrap your arms around it. And you're drawn towards this old ancient tree. And you take shelter at its base, leaning your back up against the trunk of the tree. And as you sit here with your back against this old tree, begin to connect with this tree. Begin to connect with its roots, so big and so large, firmly planted into the earth below. Strong roots reaching down into the darkness, pulling its nutrients from the earth below. And its big, strong arms and trunk reaching up into the sunlight far above you. And as you rest with your back against this old ancient tree, you feel deeply connected to nature and to this tree. And look up at its leaves, softly moving in the sunlight and the breeze, far, far above you. And as you lay here melting into the support of this tree, imagine that any thoughts and distractions are far up there and the leaves far above you, far distant from you, resting into the support of the tree. You soften and melt and support and rest against its trunk. Almost as if you and the earth and the tree are melting into one thing, melting into one being. So you look up at the sky. In the far distance, you see dark clouds forming. See them forming in the distance. Stormy clouds. Become aware of this stormy sensation. The wind is picking up. The sky is getting darker. A storm is coming towards you. You are melted into the support of the tree, this tree that has weathered so many storms. And you feel completely at rest. Allow yourself to watch the storm slowly come towards you and then pass on by. And right behind it, you notice sparkling blue sky. The storm passes by, and the tree offers protection. And then as the blue sky clears, the storm passes by, you melt even more into the support of the tree and the earth, letting your whole self completely melt into the support of this old ancient tree. I'm feeling deeply rested and grateful for the support of this tree. See yourself get up. Slowly walk back towards a well-worn path, and then turn and look at your tree. Paint in the details of this tree, knowing that this old, wise, supportive tree is here for you whenever you need to come back. Your own sacred tree of protection. And as you walk back down your well-worn path, imagine some of the weight of your worries and fears somehow seem to have dropped and fallen. You feel lighter and softer. And then gently return to the center point of the mind. Again, allowing space for whatever is present here. Greeting yourself where you are at. And then we'll practice a practice of rapid visualization, allowing an image to come to mind, see it, observe it, and then let it pass through without trying to label it, without worrying if it's the right image or the wrong image, but just allowing an image to come to mind, see it purely, clearly, and then let it pass on by. We'll begin with a single feather floating in the wind. A far distant planet. Field of sunflowers. The dark side of the moon. Leaves blowing in the wind. Shooting star. Children playing in a playground. A single candle in a very dark room. The face of a mentor. A herd of elephants. Dewdrops on a spider's web. Diving into the deep blue ocean. Baby sea turtles. Standing on top of a vast mountain. A sacred temple. Sitting in meditation. See yourself sitting in meditation. Observe yourself sitting in meditation. before coming back from this deep state of rest, bring to mind your truth vow and whisper it softly and gently to yourself. As many times as you feel like you need, as many times do you feel like your whole self heard it. Say it with kindness and conviction, as if you already believe it true. Softly begin to bring your awareness back into your room, back into your space. Begin to feel the ground below you. Notice the points of contact that your body has with the ground. Perhaps connect to the weight of your clothes and the blanket, the touch of the temperature of the air of the room. And then without thinking cognitively, allow your body to take this moment to reach and stretch and lengthen in whatever way feels right, coming from this deep rested space. Try not to think about it and stretch and allow the clicks and turns to happen. Sometimes this deep rest can allow these little resets. Take the time to connect with how that feels. Lengthen, stretch, move, and then softly and slowly bring your knees in and make your way into a fetal position. Curling up in a ball on whatever side is calling to you. And staying here for a moment, really connecting to this shape. Reminding us of the time in the room when all of our needs were met. We were fully protected. We had not judged ourselves as negative or positive. A time when we were just a spark of life. And take a moment to connect to that spark of life that exists within us, in our bliss center, in our soul center, unchanged by our experiences. Unchanged by that harsh inner critic that begins to develop throughout our life. Connect within to your bliss center, as if recharging, breaking down the heart wall and connecting within. And without thinking too cognitively about it, perhaps thinking of some things you're ready to let go of, giving them some kind of visual, maybe weights on your shoulders, maybe you're carrying a big heavy burden of weight on your back, like a big backpack. You're ready to let it go, ready to drop the emotional burden, ready to rewrite some of those familiar paths in your brain. It's not that we push away or bury any experiences. It's that we rewrite that familiar pattern of trauma, that familiar emotional pattern in our brain. We allow the thing to be present, and we drop the emotional burden of whatever it is we are holding on to. Begin to soften your senses into the room. Try to come out of this practice as softly and slowly as you go into it. Start to notice how your body feels on the ground. Soften your sense of sound back into the room. Notice sounds that are present. Blink open your eyes softly and slowly, as if softly allowing light back into your vision. And then come on up to a seated position and bring your hands to prayer at heart space. Completing your practice in a familiar pattern, a little ritual. So rewriting some of those patterns in our brains with ones that are familiar and possibly positive. Continually coming to familiar patterns that connect us with our internal self, our bliss self, our spiritual self. Taking a moment to really think about our left and right sides meeting in front of our heart as if being whole and complete, precisely as we are. Ever changing, ever experiencing, and yet not broken. And may we all know a little love, a little light, and a lot of connection. Thank you so much for joining us. So these yoga nidra practices, these deep meditations, can stir up some emotions. Oftentimes it's things we're ready to let go of. Did you fall asleep? Kayla looks groggy. So if you notice anything that's kind of stirred up throughout the day, find ways to connect to nature. Try not to cognitively obsess over anything that's coming up. You may feel a little emotional, so connect to nature in some way. Go out and look at the sunlight, connect to looking at the stars, grab a rock, hold onto a rock for a little bit. Any way that you can connect to nature and feel a little more grounded. And try to sit with the emotion, just let it pass. Emotions are only problematic when we sit here with our head and we get stuck in them. So try to let them flow and ground. Thank you for joining us.